Let's go over daily homework page number 150. I already have my name, and you can see the date on here might be the 16th or the 17th, depending on when you decide to do it. There's only one daily homework page for those 2 days. I also have my signature down already. So let's start with the subtraction question. It's 6,000 minus 2,427. Now this is a bit of a tricky question when you're dealing with these many zeros here. I'm gonna use stacking in order to find this answer. There are other ways, but this is the way I'm gonna show you. So if I have 6,000 minus 2,427, the first thing I know is that my answer is gonna be somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000, because you can see 6,000 minus 2,000 is 4,000, but then there's gonna be some borrowing here to make the adjustment for the zero minus the number below. What I do is I replace this 6,000 with some regrouping in the numbers. So instead of 6,000, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to borrow going across. So this zero will have to borrow from here, we'll have to borrow from here. So let's start with this thousands place. So I'm gonna take 5,000 and I'm gonna take 1,000 away. I'm gonna take that 1,000 and move it over to the hundreds place. So now instead of 0 hundreds, I have 10 hundreds, right? And 10 hundreds and 1,000 is the same thing. Now I'm gonna take one of those hundreds, I'm gonna move it over to the tens place. So now instead of 0 tens, I have 10 tens. And last, I'm gonna take one of those tens and I'm going to move it over to the ones place. Now instead of 0 ones, I have 10 ones. I actually haven't added or subtracted anything yet. I've just regrouped my numbers. If you look at 5,000 plus 900 plus 90 plus 10, you have the same thing as 6,000, right? You've just regrouped the numbers, redistributed the numbers. Now I can work through the place values. So 10 minus 7 is 3, 90 minus 20 is 70, 900 minus 400 is 500, and 5,000 minus 2,000 is 3,000. So I have 3,573. It's a tricky type of question to do. Number 2 is 15 times 9. I don't know 15 times 9 off the top of my head, so I'm gonna split up 15 into 10 and 5, and we'll multiply each of those by 9. So 10 times 9 is 90, and 5 times 9 is 45. So if I put those together, I have 135. So there's my 135. Want to know the expanded form of 40,202? Well, the 4 is in the 10,000s place, so it's worth 40,000. We don't have anything in the thousands place, so we would just add a 0, which we don't have to write down because adding a 0 doesn't change. This 2 is in the hundreds place, so that's 200. There's nothing in the tens place, so same thing, I don't have to put that in. And then this 2 is in the ones place, so it's actually worth 1. It's actually worth 2. So 40,000 plus 200 plus 2 is the expanded form. For number 4, I want to know this shaded area, what is it in decimal form? So if I look here, I have 10 parts and 8 are shaded in. That's 8 tenths. So in decimal form, we write that as 0.8. Last question, it says, Laura's family's car can travel 30 kilometers on each liter of gas. If a trip is 420 kilometers long, how many liters of gas will the car use? So what I have here is a 420 kilometer long trip divided into 30 kilometer sections, really, right? So I can look at that as 420 divided by 30. Now the thing to remember is if I multiply this, if I'm trying to figure this out, I can say, well, what times 30 equals 420? And it'll be the same thing as if I multiplied what times 3 equals 42. So if I think, well, how many 3s does it take to get to 42? Well, I know 10 times 3 is 30, and I would say that 4 times 3 is the following 12. That gives me my 42 all around. That means that 14 times 3 is 42. Now remember, when I put a 0 on this, on one of the factors, I put a 0 on the product. So that means if 14 times 30 is 420, then 420 divided by 30 is 14. The car will use 14 liters of gas. It's a bit of a tricky one for sure. All right, guys, make sure you do your Lexia practice if you can, and do some reading and write down what you read and what you learned. All right, thanks a lot, guys.